Attention. Due to the nature of the films discussed, the Civil Gore podcast may contain adult language and themes.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 30 of the Civil Gore podcast. I am your host, Tim.
And this is Brian. How are you guys doing? We have a lot of stuff going on in the next couple of weeks here.
Yeah. Should we tell some behind the scenes magic
Sure.
here, Brian, of what we're doing? So tonight we're recording two episodes because Brian's going out of town next week.
Yeah.
So we're kind of packing in a double feature. So
Yeah.
if we're a little sporadic, that's part of the reason.
Yeah. And we're actually going to do one of the controversial minisodes. We still not be able to tell if people like those or not, but the second episode we record tonight is kind of one of those. But I think it's a little different than the other minisodes, and I think it'll be kind of fun. I think you'll enjoy it because we're going to touch on sort of like a preview of it tonight, and we'll go into much more detail of it on the minisode. So I think that'll be kind of fun for everybody.
Yeah, and we're going to still have the first chop and DISCMEMBERMENT and everything for that episode, so it really won't feel like a mini-sode at all.
Right, and to make up for it, though, Tim and I have got some plans in the works, which we are not going to reveal. That we won't reveal yet, but we got some stuff in the works that we think will be pretty unique and kind of fun.
Yeah, October is going to be kind of an interesting and unique month for our podcast, but I think you guys will enjoy it. So
yeah, and if not, well, we'll try harder next year, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
The good thing October comes every year, as far as I know.
Well, let's get right into it with our first chop.
Okay, so once again, good old Steve Cohn comes through. He basically sent me a thing today. There's last week, first of all, the Friday the 13th had its update last week. One of the other bug fixes, and they changed some stuff on how you can clothe the counselors, and that also came with their first purchasable DLC. If it was $1.99, you can get they're calling it the Spring Break 84 pack, which is basically bathing suits for all the counselors to wear. So ideally it's a little funny because, okay, anyone that knows in Friday the 13th films, anyone that goes swimming at night usually is sans bathing suit. They wear them during the day, so it's kind of funny to see them the counselors running through the nighttime with the bathing suits. But also he sent me a thing today, which it was basically a little video preview of that Virtual Cabin 2.0. So what it is it based on the little video, it's you kind of walk through this cabin and find little objects, and basically as you grab the objects, it gives you a little bit of trivia, little bit of things, and I think it's like if you move stuff to the right spot, it opens up more areas. It looks like in the video, it looks like if you put the Jason mask on a hook or something, the doorway opens and you can explore in another area. And I saw there was one part where the snake comes slithering across the floor and goes under, and if you grab the snake, it basically tells you the story of when they shot the film and there was a snake that they chopped. So it looks like a really cool little bonus thing, and I think it'll be kind of fun. It's I don't know if it leads to anything, but it looks like it's basically a bunch of unlockables. Like basically you just can go around the cabin. But I mean, some of to me, I eat that stuff up, so that's kind of fun. I know I'll have a ball trying to find all the little hidden tricks in there, and it probably won't matter that you can't find a game to play because it'll probably just be always available.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Actually, we'll definitely be revisiting the game for that.
Yeah, you gotta come back. You gotta come back, Tim.
Yeah,
you're leaving me alone to wander the
I
woods.
know, I've been playing too much Destiny too.
In my bikini, no less. I swear, because
they would have made a lot more money off that DLC if it was a non-bikini.
Don't
wardrobe.
Put it past that. That's not coming out. I'm sure. It would not shock me with that game. I mean, it pretty much has got the other two Bs. So in it, so they just need one more. I mean, really. Yeah. So yeah. And by the way, just to clarify, the character I usually pick when I'm a counselor happens to be the woman, which is kind of like the quote unquote like slutty girl in it, but because you can actually get an achievement, which I unlocked already by using her, but also she's actually got skills. So basically, if you don't know, each counselor has its own set of skills. She has a skill where she can kind of run really fast and is is largely undetected by Jason's when he uses his sight and search modes. Basically, if you stand in the right spot, you can sometimes get undetected. And I loaded her up with the right perks, so she's actually pretty valuable. And also, to play a woman in the game is the only way you can actually get the sweater from Jason's mom's sweater. So so that explains that. I didn't want you guys to think I just walk around literally playing in a bikini.
That's your story.
Julie always laughs. She goes, "Why are you always playing the girl with the skimpy clothes on? Why do you always pick her?"
Well, it's like the when we used to play MMOs, there was a guy, our guild leader, he always played a female avatar, and I asked him one time, I said, "Why do you always play a female avatar?" And he had the best comeback. He said, "If I'm going to be staring at an ass for hundreds of hours, it's going to be a woman's."
That is a good point.
So there you go. And also we had some big news about It Part 2.
Well, that again actually came from Steve Cohn again. He's on fire today, I tell you. He texted me. So they announced It Part 2's release date. We knew it was coming, but we weren't sure when. But it's now it's got an official release date of September 6, 2019. So just under 2 years, we will have the return of Stan. No, and and of course Pennywise and all of our friends. And what's good is, like I can't imagine. I can't remember probably a horror sequel that is going to have more buzz than this one. Considering, it made another $30 million this weekend.
Jeez,
it was still
amazing.
number 2 movie, but only behind The Kingsman, which obviously that's a pretty big movie, action movie. It's got a lot of big star power in it. So for it to stay.
I think Kingsman will drop off.
I think it will.
Because it didn't get great reviews.
Right. No, I think it will. I think it's one of those ones where everyone's going to go see it opening weekend, and then most people will wait, kind of thing. So,
yeah.
So I think it will possibly regain the top spot again next week if it continues this way. Because I see more and more people going to see it now, and it's that word of mouth. And usually week 4 is when those people that they just don't like to deal with the buzz, but they want to see it, and they figure, you know what, now I'll go see it. And it usually actually provides a nice little bump in the box office. So, I don't know what their totals are now, but it's pretty up there. I know it broke a lot of records already. I'm interested to see if it'll become the highest, if it's not already the highest horror movie of all time. What would that be right now? I wonder. We should look that up.
I think The Exorcist is the
is it
top
still that?
right
It's
now.
still that? Okay.
Yeah, adjusted for inflation. Right. I don't know. I saw an article come out where they were claiming it had beaten The Exorcist, and then there was controversy. They're like, no, because you have to adjust for inflation.
See, that's why I saw that. That's why I can't tell. Like, I don't know if not that I'm like, not that we're super fact heavy on this show, but
That's for darn sure.
Yeah, we've been wrong many a time and right many a time. Oh, in fact, we might touch on that. Obviously, last week we reported that Friday the 13th thing, which then I saw a couple days after we had recorded that, some people claiming that it to be false. Now, I've seen that happen before as well, where they said, no, it's not coming out, and it was not leaked properly. So, trust me, being a Star Wars fan, how many things leak out and then they deny it only for it to be exactly what leaked out, so...
Yeah, so the jury's still out on that.
Yeah,
one,
I'm still sticking with it that it's coming back. There's no way that they're not going to try and resurrect it now. Not with the Halloween coming back strong.
Chucky, like all these franchises are doing new movies.
Right.
And Leatherface, they're going to bring it back.
I say, you know who I say you bring back? I say you bring back Tommy Jarvis's character for the next one.
Yes,
just like Jamie Lee, bring back Tommy Jarvis. Tom Matthews gonna be a chiller, so when we're there, I'm gonna tell him he needs to push for that.
Just ask him, yeah. He'll do it for you.
Yeah, come on.
He'll be like, "Oh, you're the guy from Civil Gore.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, I'm in."
See, we got some pull somewhere
in our own minds, apparently. But so I went back to Target this weekend, and they had some officially licensed Universal Monster costumes now, which those are pretty cool. I know I was a little disappointed in the prop stuff, but the costumes are pretty neat. They had a child-sized creature from the Black Lagoon, which was awesome. It was like a bodysuit, but it had those scales and everything. It's like printed on.
Yeah, it's like that old, like we talked about, like the that when I said Mervo the Clown wore that type of like thing.
Yeah, but you know, like kind of like the morph suits or whatever you see.
Oh, okay.
But they're still pretty realistic looking. Like the detail's really good on it, and I really wanted the adult one, but they didn't have it. They were. It was just a child's. I don't think I could fit in that.
But you know, it's funny after you said that. I think they might make it because I saw someone on Instagram with a creature from the Black Lagoon mask on, and it looked like an adult side. So
yeah, they did have the mask, so I think they probably do have the adult costume. They just didn't have it in that store.
All right, so on the hunt for your shirts, I'll also look for you an adult size creature from the Black Lagoon.
Well, it's crazy. I don't really want it for Halloween. I just kind of want it just to.
Oh no, I know that's your everyday costume. I get it.
Yeah.
No argument. No judgment. I should say. I'm not gonna. How could I judge you with It's like...
Also, so we're going to. There's a little comic book show in town locally next weekend. It's not a big thing. It's like at the Moose Lodge or whatever. But I'm gonna hit that next weekend for look for some horror comics and some dollar comics and stuff like that.
Speaking of horror comics, I think you didn't have this in the rundown, but I think you got something special in the mail, didn't you?
I did. So I told you I was collecting that Haunted Horror comic, which is reprints of the old EC comics. Well, there are 29 issues, and all of them are fairly inexpensive, except for issue number 1. If you go out and look for issue number 1, it's $50 everywhere you go, which is more than I ever want to pay for a comic book because I'm not that big into them. But I ended up finding it on eBay with a guy that had a buy it now price. I emailed him, offered him a significantly lower price. He came back with a counter offer. I accepted and got it. Issue number 1 in the mail the other day. I was thrilled because I got a great price on it, free shipping, and it's in immaculate condition. So my collection will one day be complete because I now have issue number 1. The rest are a lot easier to find, so I'm not too worried about getting the rest of them. And right now I got about half of the 29.
Well, and I'll look at Chiller now that you said that because they have a lot of horror comic guys there. So I'll keep an eye out for any issues that you're looking for.
Yeah, I can email you the list of ones I need.
And technically, that's where you should have pulled the Civil Gore card right out of there, right? And said, hey, listen, I have a podcast. Your name could be everywhere. As far as iTunes can travel, you will be mentioned.
Yeah. But like I said, we were going out shopping for Halloween costumes. My daughter's going to be a zombie bride, which is really cool. Which it kind of surprised me because she's not into the scary stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's Joshua that's into the...
But she's been obsessed with being scary. And,
you taught them well, Tim. Look at that.
Yeah, but my son wants to be Batman.
Oh, you can't argue with Batman, though.
Yeah, well, I love Batman. But yeah, he wanted a Batman costume, so that's what he's going to be. I can't reveal what I'm going to be because I am going to a dead celebrity party.
Oh, okay.
This weekend. And all I can reveal is that it will be a dead celebrity, but I can't reveal what it's going to be because this podcast will air before the party.
Oh, so. Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
It's going to be epic. It will be epic.
You'll have to post the pictures.
Yeah, I'll definitely post
now,
pictures.
Is it like a twofer? Like you're going to do one of those couples costumes with Olivia? Is she going to be someone related to it?
No. I don't think she's dressing up. But I'm going to, I'll definitely post some pictures of it. I don't think she's decided what she's going to be. We usually do one thing for like the parties, and then we do another thing for actual Halloween.
Oh, right, when you take the kids out. Yeah. Okay.
So we get to kind of dress up twice.
Oh, nice.
It's twice as fun. So we haven't decided what our like official Halloween trick or treating costume is going to be.
Yeah.
That's usually our couples.
Yeah, I got to do. I got to think of something for work because every year they dress us. We have a thing for work. And last year I have like one like pretty decent costume that I put together when I needed was with Indiana Jones, but I can't do that again since they already did that. Like I got away with it because I wore it at one job, and then with my about 5 years later when I was at a different job, I could wear it. I could recycle it, but I can't recycle it at the same job. So I got to think of something. But I assume based on for the podcast's sake, I was going to think of going something definitely horror related. But I was trying to think of something a little bit obscure but known enough. Like I don't want to do something.
That's always a challenge.
Like I don't want to do something obvious like Pennywise, or I don't want to do something with makeup because I got to wear this thing. Just for a couple of hours, not the whole day. So you really don't want to have too much prep time. So I'm really thinking something like, just enough, like, maybe I'll check out that, like, Your Neighbors Are Dead podcast and get get one of those characters.
Well, I saw some really, really cool masks this weekend. We went out to all the different Halloween stores and the party cities and those kind of things. And I was going to run down some of the cool masks I saw. The absolute coolest one I saw, and I don't know how you would dress up as this. There's an officially licensed Jaws mask.
Oh my god!
Which is actually Jaws' head in the the upright position, like like he's coming up with the mouth open and everything. There's actually a hand coming out of the mouth, and it's really gory, but it's so cool. I mean, I don't know how you would do the body part.
Oh,
like
you know what you could do? You could literally do like a kind of like a Daniel LaRusso Karate Kid thing where you have like the water like is the rest of the costume, and you just walk around with like a blue sheet or something.
Yeah, I guess you could get away with doing like just a shark costume body, and then that as the mask. Yeah. Like some people do the shark costumes, but I don't know. It was really, really, really cool. And then I've seen a lot of Michael Myers masks this year that look really good.
Really, I kind of want to say and not buy one though, and save them for when they do the new movie, so they don't end up with a crappy mask.
They actually look better than the ones in the movie.
God.
Now I'm talking about they do sell cheaper versions. Like you can get a cheap version that doesn't look as good. But like if you get up into the $60+ range, they start looking really, really good. I mean, the hair is still kind of crazy. Yeah. I've never been able to get the hair because on the mask, it just tends to like floof out. Like you need a lot of hairspray or some gel or something to slick that back.
Yeah.
But
well,
I saw some. Really
cool I was thinking Michael Myers if I did go the more obvious route, because that's easy enough. I mean, you get the jumpsuit, you get a fake knife, and you get the mask. But I was gonna steal from a friend of mine at work last year. What she did was she went as Elliot. and had like the bike handles and a fake ET popped out.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And I think I should have sent some pictures. I took pictures of all the cool costumes from my work. There were some great ones, but that one was kind of cool because she had a little button, like a little little sound thing. So when she would walk around, she'd hit it, and the ET theme would play. So I figured I would do the same thing, but with the do 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 every time I walk.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of what intrigued me to kind of really possibly do the Michael Myers, and I could probably get that whole costume for $100 or less. I'll just, I would probably get, if I was going to get the mask, I'll get the good mask. And then the jumpsuit is probably nothing. I'd probably go to like a Walmart. They probably have those paint suits, and like.
Yeah. Well, see, what I was thinking is I almost wanted to get the mask, not necessarily for Halloween, but just put it on like a styrofoam head and put it on display.
Oh, that too. Well, that's what I would do afterwards.
Because it's so cool. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I really thought about doing Michael Myers just so I'd have an excuse to buy that mask because it was so.
Yeah, cool. I'm tempted with that.
And then the other one I sent you, Brian, it was not an official Black Phillip.
I saw that, yeah.
Goat, but it was a goat, and it looks kind of like Black Phillip. He's just white.
Yeah, and there was that thing with Black Phillip stuff on Etsy. We saw. What's that all about? See, Civil Gore podcast was so popular. Our witch episode was so popular that now it's a thing.
There's Black Phillip stuff everywhere.
Still got to get a hold of that.
Yes, cider. I sent Brian a text that said, "Wouldst thou like to trick or treat deliciously?"
That's instead of saying trick or treat when you ring the door, you have to say that.
Yeah, you have to say it like that.
In fact, now it makes me want to buy that just so I can go around trick or treating and saying that. A little old, but.
But next weekend's the big Halloween yard decor thing. I'm devoting all Saturday afternoon to decorating the yard, and I've got lights. I made remember I told you about the ghost I was making? Well, I modified those. I've actually made an entire Scream mannequin.
Oh, cool.
With the actual Scream mask, because I found an old black robe that we had used from one of the costumes. So we're going to string him up in one of the trees. We're going to put eyes on all of we got these spiral decorative bushes out front.
Oh, cool.
So we're going to put like glowy eyes in those, and I'll take pictures of it. It's going to be really
You have to
cool.
do that. And you know what, actually, you should do a little, like, walkthrough video. But also, speaking of that, we should get any of the listeners out there, too. Because I know we have two friends in particular that have amazing, actually three, technically, that I know of right off the top of my head that do great Halloween decorating. One of them, our friend Andy, does this. Man, and actually, I think Slater, right? They do a full walkthrough through their garages.
Yeah.
So if anyone we should come up with a hashtag. Like we'll announce it maybe next episode. We'll come up with a hashtag for anyone has their home decorations that wants to send this in to us. Maybe we'll make a little album online for everyone to see of them all. We'll collect them all because there's nothing fun with that. I mean, unfortunately my house is old, so it kind of already looks like it's a haunted house. Tim could tell you, but so
it's not.
We don't need much to it, but yeah. But plus, I usually donate all my decorations at that time to bring to the work party. So I really don't have much on there. Plus, we're going to be moving in the middle of that, and so yeah. So it's probably best at this point to just so everyone else and I could just live vicariously through everyone else this year.
Well, there's a guy up the street that last year unfortunately I didn't get to see it because typically what happens is I stay behind to give out candy while Olivia takes the kids trick or treating. So I kind of missed out on this, but there was a guy up the street that did one of those garage haunts. And she said it was amazing. So I'm hoping this year that he's going to do it again. And if so, I'm going to go with him and maybe I can record it or something.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be great.
But let's get right into our dismemberment because we have it. Oh, wait a minute.
We forgot.
Hang on. Forgot. We got to announce this now because
we'll go into more detail in the mini-sode next episode. But
yeah, so what we are doing, the Civil Gore Horror Movie Challenge.
Woo!
And I put a hashtag, which is going to be impossible to remember, but hashtag CGHMC for Civil Gore Horror Movie Challenge. So what we're doing is we're going to post on our Facebook page 31 movies for Halloween, or for October, I should say. And we're not posting the actual movie titles because it's up to you to figure out which movies you want to do. But if you would like to play along, we have 31 different challenges, and it might be something like an anthology film or a film set in a theme park. And you can pick any horror movie that fits that criteria and use that as your pick for that number and mark it off the list.
Yeah, and we figured it'd be fun that way.
It's kind of like a scavenger hunt, I guess. Yeah, kind of like a scavenger
hunt. And you can almost like set your own difficulty level. Like, I mean, you could, some people I know, like me, I'm going to try, like based on what Tim does, I'm going to try and make these movies something I haven't seen yet. Because, I mean, sure, right off the top of the head, you see some of these, or they're easy. You say, okay, I'll just watch this. But I am personally going to try and challenge myself to watch something that I haven't seen yet. So, I mean, but it's up to you. It doesn't matter. There's no rule on it. It's just, and obviously it's all for fun. There's nothing happens, if you don't do it. We don't come and mock you, but, well, we might mock you a little.
Well,
yeah,
it might
be a little mocking, but yeah, maybe like if you don't finish it, you get sent to Paul Blart 1 and 2. But, no. Well, the Paul Blart 1's not bad. But, yeah, so, we're gonna announce, I guess, the full, a little more detail next episode. But we'll give you, we'll definitely post that entire list within the next week or so, so you have, kind of have a head start to kind of prep, because we know, obviously, I know for me it's gonna be challenging. I'm gonna have to probably, cheat a little and watch a few, maybe few one day, like on a weekend or something, because it's just that's another thing I think we decide, right? It doesn't have to be one per day as long as it's 31 through the month, right? I mean, yeah,
right, yeah. The goal is to get 31 in by Halloween, but it's not it's not a hard and fast rule. It's going to be tough for me to do it as well, so we're just going to try to get as many as we can. And one thing I'd ask you to do is if you watch a movie, tweet it out to us with a quick blurb or a quick review or something, and tell us which number off you're crossing off the list. So if it's that anthology film, which is it's number 13, just go hashtag CGHMC number 13. I watched blah 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 and it was awesome. That kind of thing. So we're kind of just a community sharing what we're watching and what we picked for each list. I thought it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, because and you never know, because there's no order you have to go into, so you could help someone else out by giving them a cool one to watch for their number one.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, keep an eye out on our Facebook page, and we'll also link it. Put a link to our Facebook page and Twitter when we post that list. So we have a huge dismemberment, as you might expect, for October.
Yeah, they're just growing.
And I wanted to preface this because when I start looking at these Blu-ray upcoming weeks, sometimes titles get shifted around. Sometimes they get delayed a week or they get moved up a week. And I don't always know by the time we're recording what the absolute most current status is. So I do the best I can. So if if I mention something some week that's coming out and then it doesn't come out till 2 weeks later, you just have to forgive me. It's a problem with the release schedules getting wonky. It's not really our fault. We're pulling this off of websites and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, House of I was gonna say House of a Thousand Corpses. House of that October's Built 2, I think was supposed to be released tomorrow, but it's already available tonight.
Yeah, see, right?
It
yeah,
came,
right
it came
there.
early,
So,
I mean, it's
sometimes you just don't know.
I mean, because most of the time, you figure it's always a Tuesday release, but sometimes with those on-demand ones or those big, not those major releases, they sneak out early or late. You never know. It'll run havoc with you if you try and plan it. So,
yeah. So if you see anything in here that's also, I've got some of them. I swear I talked about that before, but it may be because it just came back up in the rundown because it got shifted, or sometimes even another studio puts out the same title. So I think is the case with one of these that we're going to talk about this week. So anyway, just a little behind the scenes there as to where we're pulling all this stuff and why you may get an occasional duplicate here and there or whatever. But this one sounded really cool. This first one. These are the Blu-ray releases for October 3rd. And I had not heard of this one. It's called Haunters, The Art of the Scare. It's a documentary. Haunters is a heartwarming and heart-stopping documentary about people who sacrifice everything to create the most popular and polarizing haunted houses for Halloween, from boo scare mazes to a controversial news subculture of extreme terror experiences. This sounds a lot like, and I don't remember the name of it. You're going to kill me, people out there. But there was a really great horror movie on home haunters. I want to say it's called American.
I know the one you're talking about.
You know which one I'm talking about. Yeah.
I've seen that before. This I got to. I love the premise of this. Of course, obviously, this is a big thing for us. We loved it, but I love that thing, the heartwarming and heart-stopping documentary. that may be one of the best lines I've heard in one of these. Our dismemberments for the descriptions ever. That's perfect, Yeah. It's not even funny. It's perfect, It's like...
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to be looking for that one because I really enjoyed that other documentary.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's one that might just appear day and date on Amazon Prime or something. I could see that one being or Netflix, I don't know if that's going to be one of those ones where you don't find it in a store, you won't be able to find it for a couple of weeks or months or something.
Yeah, the one I was talking about was The American Scream. And it's about, I think they spotlighted 3 home haunters, and really great documentary. If you enjoy that kind of stuff, you really need to go track that one down. It used to be on Netflix or Amazon or one of those. I don't know if it's still streaming, but yeah, definitely look that one up. The American Scream is from 2012. All right. And next up we have Sharknado 5, Global Swarming.
Yay, I love those. I know they're so bad and cheesy and stupid, but I love that whole series, so I'm definitely going to be picking that one up. I have the other 4, so.
Yeah. I have not seen this one yet, actually.
Oh, that's right. You were supposed to watch it.
I was supposed to watch it. I didn't get to watch it, but the summary is, with much of America lying in ruins, the rest of the world braces for a global Sharknado. Finn and his family must travel around the world to stop them.
That's so funny because it's just, if you start that, you may be thinking about it's a documentary of what's going on right now with much of America lying in ruins.
We might need a Sharknado.
Yeah, I think that might help.
The big news this week, and we're coming up on my pick of the week, and it's probably yours too, Brian. But first up, of course, is Cult of Chucky, which is the brand new Child's Play movie, and that one is coming out on Blu-ray, but is also being released on Netflix.
Or if you've been following the news, it's already been released.
Yeah,
some people apparently leaked it out, and it's
so it's been leaked. But anyway, I'm gonna wait for the proper.
Yeah, well, we have it coming. We ordered it. Tim and I ordered it together in the what was the clothing store we were in or something when
we were in the Sephora.
Yeah, was that it? Sephora. Sorry, that's not a clothing store. But yeah, Julie and Olivia went in there, and Tim and I were left with in the front, and so we decided to. Try and pre-order this, so we made sure we were not shut out, and we pre-ordered.
And I was so excited because I had totally forgotten that we had pre-ordered this back in the summer. So I was looking at the rundown of what's coming out, and I saw Chucky Complete 7 Movie Collection. I'm like, oh my god, that's coming.
I know,
this
we
week.
get it. It will be arriving on our, and
it will be on
and
our
it's cool because it's got that box that looks like the doll box, which is kind of neat,
like a doll.
Yeah, there we go. That was for Amanda out there.
Not only Cult of Chucky, you're also getting the Complete 7 Movie Collection as well, if you prefer. Which I am so excited to go back through those movies. I already own Child's Play 1 for the nice Scream Factory edition but I have not seen the sequels in forever.
Yeah, I hardly remember them.
Not
actually.
the old sequels. I think Bride of Chucky is probably the most recent. Bride of Chucky on.
Yeah, I think same with me. Yeah.
So anyway, I put this one in here, even though it's not technically a horror movie, but it's the one we had talked about before, which was a ghost story. That's the one with the ghost shows up in the sheet kind of thing.
Yeah, that looks cool. That's like one of those artistic, like kind of
artistic, but not really horror. But I threw it in there because we had talked about it before.
Hey, it's got a ghost.
One we were interested in. It's got a ghost. Yeah,
close enough.
iZombie season 3. I had never watched that show. It got pretty good reviews as I recall, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, season 3 that's coming out. American Horror Story season 6 Roanoke. I did not enjoy this season whatsoever. I really didn't like it.
I'll have to go. I'll believe you on it because I've not really watched this show, so I don't know. It's one of those ones where I keep saying, "Let me get into it, and it's another one of these things I'll have to just binge through at one point. But
yeah, some seasons are better than others. This was, to me, was one of the weakest seasons, and I think it's because Olivia figured the twist out fairly early on. It's not really a twist, but she kind of figured out the plot line like by the first episode, and which she is amazingly good at, by the way.
Julie does that too.
She should have been a screenwriter, I swear, because she knows exactly what a writer's going to do. But yeah, so it wasn't just that though. It just wasn't a strong season for me. I'm really enjoying season 7 a lot more.
Is that the one with Lady Gaga? That season 6, or is this the one with her?
No. Season 6 is season 5 was Lady Gaga.
Oh, okay.
The hotel. That one was pretty good. I enjoyed that one. She was actually really good in it. But she's not in season 6.
Oh. No Gaga.
No Gaga. I love. The next one up I alluded to previously was Popcorn from 1991. This is a Phantom of the Cinema special edition. I think this was the one that I'd seen released by another company.
Yeah.
Earlier.
But see, and this was my pick of the week because this was one of my favorites horror movies. I have not seen it in a while, so I kind of made it a pick of the week because I definitely want to have that in my collection. I think I have it on DVD, but I never upgraded. So
I haven't seen it in forever. I really want to see it again.
It's great. It's so we gotta make sure that's why I had to like kind of give it my pick of the week over the Chucky one, which it's kind of definitely up there. I mean, that would definitely be the honorable mention, that box set, and I was about to put that as my pick of the week, but yeah, I had to go with Popcorn. I went the sentimental choice.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it doesn't have to be the same. And by the way, I don't think I've explicitly said my pick of the week was the Chucky box set, but that's should go without saying.
Yeah, it's kind of implied.
Yeah. Next up is The Hidden from 1987. An alien parasite with the ability to possess human bodies goes on a violent crime spree in L.A. A human cop, Detective Tom Beck, and an alien cop posing as a young FBI agent, Lloyd Gallagher, both pursue the parasite, who frequently changes his human host. And this has got Kyle MacLachlan in it.
So that's awesome. Is he the FBI agent?
That's what I'm wondering. I meant to look that up because I'm like, if he's the FBI agent, maybe this actually takes place in the Twin Peaks universe.
Yeah, can you imagine that? That'd be kind of cool. Hey, yeah, you know what? After you've seen the new Twin Peaks series, you'll think anything could probably fit into that universe.
Oh my gosh. Next up, 976 Evil from 1988. People who dial 976 Evil receive supernatural powers and turn into satanic killers. This is the one of those that I always saw the box art for.
Yep. That's the classic box art.
Classic VHS box art right there. That one's so that one's pretty cool.
And today, if this came out today, it would totally be a thing where they would make it so you could call that number and do like some kind of viral promotion for it.
Oh heck yeah, definitely. The next one is oldie but a goodie.
Oh my god, 1932,
really oldie.
Yeah.
1932 Vampire.
That's how you have to say it because there's no E.
Yeah, I could say vampire, but it's Vampyr, but I say vampire.
Or vampire.
Vampire.
Yeah.
A drifter obsessed. Were there drifters in 1932? I don't know. It sounds kind of like a modern term.
Yeah, I don't. Drifter. Well, it could have been someone like last year wrote this. So who knows?
Oh, yeah, that's true. A drifter obsessed with the supernatural stumbles upon an inn where a severely ill adolescent girl is slowly becoming a vampire.
That's an interesting plot for that point in time, you know?
It sounds, yeah. I'm trying to think if I've seen this one, because this is... Oh, man, that's old.
Seems like something that would more be around like the 60s or something, though. That's a pretty interesting plot for back then.
Yeah. Speaking of vampires, Bram Stoker's Dracula 4K. This was one of my absolute favorite. It probably still is one of my favorite vampire movies. Yeah,
and I remember actually, I saw this opening night. I was so excited for that. And the best, I remember when we were in I forgot before it came out what movie we were seeing, but they had the trailer for this, and the theater went nuts because everyone knew this was coming, you know, this movie, and it was a big thing. And I still remember the trailer had that thing where it was the blood rolling around, and then it dripped away and spelled Coppola, and people went nuts when they realized that it was the trailer for that movie.
Yeah, and I know it has its flaws. Keanu Reeves' accent is kind of held up as one of the worst ever British accents in movie history, but and some of the weird liberties they took with the character names and stuff. But all that aside, I was obsessed with this movie. When it came out, I had the movie poster on my wall in my bedroom. I bought the DVD version as soon as it came out. In fact, I believe it was the first movie I ever played on my new surround sound system.
Oh,
when
nice.
I first got surround sound and was just blown away. I bought every freaking version of that movie there was. I don't know if you remember, this was way, way, way before Blu-ray. There was a time point where they released, and hang on, I'm gonna grab it off the shelf real quick. They released something called Super Bit.
Oh my god, I remember Super Bit. Yeah,
do you remember it?
I think I have that version. Yeah,
I've still got my Super Bit version of Bram Stoker's Dracula. And basically Super Bit was they basically just stripped off most of the extras and put the movie in a higher bitrate format so that it looked better but it was regular DVD.
Yeah, I remember those. It was so funny, the gimmicks that they had.
Yeah, I mean, they were a lot more expensive because they were catering to collectors and stuff even back then. So, but man, I love that movie. So I would love to see this in 4K. Jeez, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I was actually looking at it on my shelf just now, my Blu-ray of it. Yeah, I would. Yeah, thing is, I'm like, it's killing me because I see all these 4K releases. You know, and my next TV will be a 4K, but right now my TV is playing still really good. Knock on wood. So it's like I don't want to upgrade yet now before prematurely because then they're only going to get better, these 4K TVs. So I'm like,
oh yeah, no,
I'm just gonna wait.
No, I'm gonna have no interest in that until we move and all that. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I mean, it's like it'll be there.
Yeah. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 1992. This is the actual movie. I don't think I ever saw the movie. I watched the entire series.
Well, the movie is a comedy. It's so different from the show. I mean, it's like night and day. It's not. It's nothing. It's completely different type of thing. Although the movie itself definitely has its merits. It was a really enjoyable movie. I actually really liked it. And it's funny when they heard the series was coming out, I'm like, I can't see that being a series based on like the way the movie was. And then obviously it was nothing like the.
It'd be interesting to see how many TV series were more successful than the movie they were based off of, because that's a rarity.
It is, because most of it just never quite has the magic. I mean, and it's now like there's some that are just not fair to judge, like the Exorcist TV series, which I know you said is amazing and it's probably really good, but how do you compare that to one of the most incredible horror movies of all time, right? I mean, it's like,
do you remember they made a Ferris Bueller TV series one time?
Yeah,
that was horrible. Oh my god.
Yeah, they made that. Oh, what was it? There was another one I was thinking of along those lines. Oh, the Weird Science TV show. They just they don't. It just, there's certain things that play well in a movie because you're seeing it in its entirety in a hour and a half to 2 hour bit, and that's it. And you don't need to see various versions of that, so to speak. So you're not gonna want to see the more adventures of this. It was good what it was. So
the next one up is called Jackals from 2017. Set in the 1980s, an estranged family hires a cult deprogrammer to take back their teenage son from a murderous cult, but find themselves under siege when the cultists surround their cabin, demanding the boy back. Actually, it sounded kind of cool, though.
Yeah.
Especially set in the 80s. I thought it might have some cool stuff in there. I don't know.
Do you think they're like, give me that boy back? You know, there's that line in there, like, give it back. You know, I could just be some like guy.
That's what
screaming.
they sound like.
I don't know. I didn't see the movie. I just imagine.
What does an '80s call to sound like? Is that what he sounds like a redneck?
Yeah, I don't know why I made him that way. I don't know. I could just see that being like, you know, like right at the end of the trailer before the title, where it'd be like, "Give me my boy back, Jackals coming to a theater near you." You know, like I don't just have that envision in my head when you said that, so I could be way off. Watch, it's like some really sophisticated guy, like, excuse me, pardon me, old sir, but can I have my boy back? You know,
can we have the lad back, please?
Yeah, please, if it's not too much trouble, we'd like him back before tea. You know, but sorry, our apologies to Matt from Yorkshire.
This is Michael Caine.
Can
we have a boy back?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. So you got the Michael Caine back. He's good.
Michael Caine.
You know, it's good.
Where were we? What were we talking about?
Jackals coming to a theater near you.
Okay, next up we have Mary Riley from 1996. This is the Julia Roberts vehicle. A housemaid falls in love with Dr. Jekyll and his darkly mysterious counterpart, Mr. Hyde. I know for a fact I saw this movie. I don't remember anything about it because I think it was pretty forgettable.
Now, was this a character, Mary Riley? Pardon my ignorance with it, but was she a character in the original story somewhere? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or is this something made up now where it's like almost like a My Neighbors Are Dead stance where they're taking a character that didn't exist and like throwing them in there and making a movie on it?
Oh gosh, I honestly don't know. It's been so long since I've read the original story.
Can I tell you something embarrassing? When I first, back in the day when this movie was released, and it was called Mary Riley, part of in my head, I thought it translated to Mary Shelley, so I thought it was like a story about her writing Frankenstein.
Don't feel bad, because when I was doing this for the rundown, I went, oh, Mary Riley, that's the woman that wrote Frankenstein.
See, all right. See, we were meant to do this podcast.
I just read it fast, and I wasn't thinking.
Okay, good. You know, so I'm not the only one. Okay, good.
But, you know, all I could think of was John C. Reilly.
Oh, that's true. Imagine that. Yeah. It was John C. Reilly's Frankenstein. How great would that movie be?
Oh, God, I wish I could do a John C. Reilly.
I know, me too. I mean, I used to be able to do him from Step Brothers, like a couple of lines, but I don't know if it'll work in this case. But yeah, can you imagine that? That would be the best movie ever.
Oh my God!
He'd just
John
be like,
C. Reilly's Frankenstein.
You'd have like Victor Frankenstein yelling. He's like, rise, and he'd be, yep, you know, like that. But you know, and then you know, there'd be all this kind of slapstick of him going on. Just imagine Frankenstein walking around with John C. Reilly's hair. Already, that's gold. You know, I mean.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but unfortunately, Young Frankenstein kind of ruined Frankenstein parodies. Yeah, it'll never be topped.
I know, you can't do another one now.
You can't top,
but
you can't top Peter Boyle. But.
That does not mean we can't try.
Yeah, but anyway,
Kickstarter
but we're still
number
gonna put on
48.
48, John C. Reilly's Frankenstein.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. And then for theatrical releases, we actually have a pretty decent one coming out. Flatliner. No, I'm not saying it's decent. I'm saying it's a big release. I don't know if it's going to be any good.
It's got the name recognition, so.
Yeah, the name recognition. Flatliners remake.
Right.
Or reboot or whatever you want to call it.
I don't know. It looks you know what? From the trailer, it looks like, you know, obviously it's the same basic premise, but it looks like they're trying to modernize it using some more tech.
You know, I'm not necessarily against this remake because Flatliners, as much as I like that movie, it's not sacred, you know. It's not one of those.
Easily,
you know,
yeah. It's not.
You know, it's not like Poltergeist. When they did the Poltergeist remake, I was like, no. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
But Flatliners, I'm like, yeah, you could probably update that one.
Yeah. No. I mean, I mean, and at least it's not like one of those, like, you know, where they took a parody of it, like where it's a bunch of like college kids and they call it like Fratliners, you know, or something, and it's a bunch of like, you know, it's terrible. Why do you let me say these things, Tim? You have to talk faster. Don't give me so much of a window to say things.
But the stars Reefer Sutherland.
Yeah. You know, it
Oh,
took.
God.
I got to tell you, we were behaving pretty well through this.
We were.
This up
It
until
all fell
John C.
apart.
Riley's. Oh no, actually, it all started with the guy, that redneck, asking for his boy back. Then
Yeah.
it went downhill after that. We should have known.
Oh my gosh.
We fooled
I mean,
you. You thought we were gonna do it straight and serious the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, I'm glad at least we find this amusing.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else does.
Well,
but
hey, we got some. Cody told us she liked our puns last week, so you can blame Cody out
Yeah,
there,
you
our
blame
listener.
Cody.
She liked it so much that we felt we had to double up and make it better this time. So
Speaking of things that should be buried,
yeah, nice segue. See, Tim is the segue king. See, you know, we always joke about Paul Blart too on this show, but you should be the one riding the segue because you are the king of segues.
that's right. Okay, so this week we are finishing up Steve-tember with our last Stephen King movie, and this is probably one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations, I would have to say.
Yeah, this one actually is one of the ones, though, I gotta tell you, it's fantastic, but I have trouble watching it because it disturbs me on a level, but for that reason, I respect the hell out of it, and that's why I put it as one of the top films as well.
Yeah, it's still pretty scary today, and that, of course, is Pet Sematary from 1989. Directed by Mary Lambert, which is a cool female horror movie director.
Right.
Don't get a lot of those. Written by Stephen King, novel and screenplay. So this was an actual Stephen King screenplay from his work, which is another reason why I believe it's so good.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of times people take liberties with his work, and he's usually okay with it. He's actually one of the more forgiving, I think, authors that allow their stuff to be tweaked, and he's very complimentary most of the time. I think maybe because of his Maximum Overdrive, he's forgiving. He realizes how hard it is to write and direct a movie. I don't know.
So this one stars Dale Midkiff, Denise Crosby, Fred Gwynn, and the kid's name, Miko Hughes.
Yes, who actually a friend of mine just met and actually posted a picture with him. My friend Abby, she was at that horror convention in New Jersey. Not Chiller. There's another really good one, which I wanted to go to because it had Kincaid from Nightmare on Elm Street 3 there, but I just couldn't do it. I was away this weekend, so I didn't get a chance. Although I was trapped in Jersey long enough in traffic that I probably had time to go over there at this rate. But that's another story altogether. You local tri-state area people know exactly what it's like to get New Jersey. It's so easy to get in, but they never let you out. Right. And so she was there. She had a picture with Miko Hughes. It was pretty funny. He looks so old. He's like a kid now, like a guy now, and it's weird.
I know.
Because
I was watching him in this movie. And I was like, this kid's like all grown up now.
he was 22 months, I think, in this.
Oh,
or
he's
something.
tiny,
Right?
Yeah,
Wasn't he? He's
tiny.
like barely 2 years old in this movie.
Yeah.
And he's got lines that are actually delivered properly. It's amazing.
I want to play with you.
Yeah, that's got to be the creepiest, cutest kid ever. Because he's adorable in that movie.
He ended up getting all these horror roles after that too. But let's talk about the cast. Well, let's talk a quick overview of the story. So, right. Pet Sematary is about a doctor who moves to a small town in Maine. Doctor's name is Lewis Creed, who's played by Dale Midkiff.
Wait a minute, this takes place in Maine? Really?
Yes. Yeah, as you didn't know from Fred Gwynn's exaggerated Maine accent.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That's a bad road.
Yeah. But anyway.
How about a beer?
Oh God, that's gonna be the running theme for the rest of this episode. His wife, played by Denise Crosby, also from you probably recognize more from Star Trek, Next Generation fame, and
Deep Impact.
Yeah, among a ton of other TV roles. She was all over TV.
Yeah,
and of course, his daughter and his son, Gage, and their cat. And they moved to this town, and
hey, that's two cat movies in a row. So technically,
that's right. We'll have a cat theme this month. So I hate to give too much. Well, this movie's like freaking 30 years old.
Yeah, come on.
So.
I mean, I think we have a rule on Civil Gore. If the movie is at least 10 years old, we're spoiling the hell out of it for you. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, don't.
So anyway, poor cat runs out of his 9 lives and is killed by a truck. There's a busy highway that runs in front of their house.
It's a bad road. That's what Fred Gwynn says, yeah.
So Fred Gwynn, who is, well, we'll get into that. He is awesome in this role.
I got to tell you, next to Herman Munster, and I know people love him as the judge in My Cousin Vinny, but next to Herman Munster, this is like his best performance ever.
His best role ever. Yeah, but hands down. But his neighbor is named Judd Crandall, and tells him, there might be a way to get your cat back.
Yeah.
There's this old Indian burial ground, and sometimes things come back that you bury in there. So, of course, nothing comes without a cost. So when Church comes back, he's not quite the peaceful kitty that he was before. And,
he's like most cats, actually, when he comes back.
So, he turns into like an actual real cat.
Yeah.
Instead of my kind of cats, which are gentle.
Your cats are awesome. That's the thing. Your cats are the not the norm.
Here's the thing that people don't understand about cats, especially if they're not cat people, is dogs will love you no matter how you treat them. So, I mean, you can pretty much ignore a dog and the dog will still love you to death. A cat requires you get as much love from the cat as you put into the cat.
Yeah.
So you have to like shower cats with love and you will get affection in return. But if you don't shower the cat with love, they're not going to give two craps about you.
Like which one was it? Was it what your cat Maui?
Yeah, Maui.
But which was the cat that was it Morris, the one I was petting the whole time?
Yeah, it might have been Morris. Morris is very gentle.
Yeah, why would I pet him for like an hour straight? And he was like by my side the whole night. So it's like, yeah.
And all of our cats, we've just showered them with love ever since they were kittens. So, and especially in Maui's case, we've had him since he was 5 weeks old because we rescued him.
Yeah, Tim has the greatest cats.
Yeah, so he was like held like a baby ever since he was 5 weeks old. So, I mean, he's like a dog. He'll like jump up in your lap and you just pet him and whatever. You do what you ever do. So that's the thing with cats. They require a lot more investment, I guess you could say.
Yeah. No, my best friend, when we shared an apartment at one point, he had two cats. It was like one was Hershey, who was so cute, but he was really, it's like you had to play with him and like no matter how affectionate you were to him, you had to do it on his terms. Every once in a while he'd come and he'd let you hold him and let you pet him and stuff, or he'll sit by you. 95% of the time, though, he wanted to be left alone. He wasn't mean or anything. He just would hide. But he did save me from my first encounter with a cave cricket. He went after that and killed it. It was pretty funny. And Luke was Mark's other cat, and this cat was you would have thought he was reincarnated from a dog. This cat played fetch. This cat came every time you called him. You called his name, he would come up, sit right up next to you. He'd curl up, he'd lay on your lap. If you were sick, he'd be at the foot of your bed all the time. This cat was like listened. It understood. It was like an enigma. So yeah, but a lot of people have the envisionment of a cat that was like portrayed by Church when he comes back. That hissing, and
which I found out he was played by 7 different cats.
Oh my god.
So they were very specifically, they said every cat was trained specifically for one type of action, like hissing or playing dead or
because there was one that there was.
It looked real.
Yeah, and it had to be real, that one, and I think they just had it play dead. I mean, because it moved, you could tell it moved a little. It was like breathing, but
I wonder if they drugged it. Do you think they could get away with actually drugging it? Because it looked drugged.
I don't know. I think like if they did, it would be very hush hush. I can't imagine them doing that. Like how do you do that? So yeah. By the way, we need a cat. Oh yeah, and to drug it up first. It's like.
But anyway, so poor Church comes back. Not nice kitty anymore.
No.
And then we have a very unfortunate accident because Louis Creed is like the most inattentive parent ever, as is his wife.
Yeah,
and poor Gage runs out in the middle of the road and gets hit by a semi-truck.
And that part, I mean, that was the part where I used to had trouble watching a movie for that, because I grew up, closest brother in age was 9 years apart. So basically all three of my brothers were like, I was old enough to, see them as like really little kids, and they seemed like, so it's like, to me to see that was like, it was actually pretty traumatic to me, and they do an amazing job of that scene where, I mean, they literally show you up until the last minute before he gets hit. And you just see his face, and he's this cute little kid, and I like it. Like just thinking about it now, it bothered me because that's always I'm not even a parent. But like I said, I had three little brothers. That's like the biggest nightmare of like that kid you turn around and they're out of your grasp, and you see them in danger, and you're far away from them. So
it was, for me, it was as a parent, it was traumatic, but at the same time, made me really angry because the guy's not watching his freaking kid,
right.
And he turns around. I can understand. I mean, parents get distracted.
Yeah,
I've done that before, and I can't say that Joshua has never run out in the road without me. I'm like yelling stop, and he's running, and he's not stopping.
Right.
It's happened before. I'm not saying I'm the perfect parent, but it's still just frustrating because it's about to happen, and this guy's like looking over, and the neighbor's not paying attention, the mom's not paying attention, he's not paying attention, and this kid's like hauling ass towards his highway.
Yeah, and the fact that they've done so much setup for it, it's gonna happen because they did the tease in the beginning, and they flat out tell you how many times you're gonna this. The trucks barrel down the road, and once you see that scene where you see the truck driver playing the music, and they focus on that, you're like, okay, someone's getting killed here.
And he's playing with a kite near a highway.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that part. I mean, you know what? You've helped me see that a little bit better. Yeah, I probably have the better emotion now of being like, you idiot, because if you think about it, the father is not a really quote unquote a likable character in it. And he plays a doctor. You figure he'd be like, somewhat like likable. I don't like him in it.
I don't like. Well, this might be a good time to go over the casting because I did not like Dale Midkiff in this role at all.
Yeah, was he in anything? I don't know what else he was in.
He's been in some. He's been in some other stuff. If you go check out IMDb, but to me, he was just a little bit too pretty boy for this role, and I don't know why. It didn't come off as believable to me. And Pet Sematary was the first Stephen King novel I ever read. A friend of my mom's gave me the book. She had it laying around. She saw me looking at the cover. I was a little thing, and not little, but I was early teens. And she was like, "Do you want to read that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to read it." So that's the first book I read, and it scared the crap out of me. But it was never. I just never envisioned that role with him, and I don't like his wife either.
Oh, Denise Crosby?
Denise Crosby. She's fine. I liked her in Star Trek, but I didn't like her in this role as well. Neither of the parents to me were very charismatic or likable.
Do you think that was intentional casting? That parents were,
I don't
know. Because I mean, they're I did not read the book, so maybe you know this, but you're right. When you say pretty boy for the doctor, yeah, you expect I mean, he kind of has like a chip on his shoulder from the get-go once he moves to that town. Like, he doesn't look happy. And, I know he doesn't like he doesn't get along with his in-laws, but that's not it. So was he like a big city doctor that was like, had to move to this? Like, did they develop that character in the book?
I honestly don't remember because that was the first, literally the first Stephen King book I read. I've not reread it in 30 years.
Because that would make sense to me. Then his character would make a little more sense. Because they really don't give much why they moved there, as far as I know, right? Did they even say anything? I just don't remember. Next thing I know, they're moving there. And they're moving to this rural town where he's become the doctor. And you really don't see much of him as the doctor under that one scene. So it's like...
the fact that Stephen King wrote the screenplay, I have to believe at least some of that was intentional.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. So maybe he's figuring okay, you know what? We don't really want to like these people because, you kind of have, by the end of it, you're like, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't learn. So, maybe he wrote it that way and for the screenplay because you only had, listen, if it was a Stephen King miniseries, you probably would have got a lot more from this doctor. But the fact that it was a theatrical release, I think they just gave you just enough to know that he's a doctor. He moved here. And he's careless and he's reckless to some degree, and
Which it might be a little unfair. I mean, he obviously loves his kids.
Oh yeah, no. I mean reckless in just general.
Yeah,
he obviously has like a thing that the parents don't like about him. I mean, he's just it's like I think like he doesn't seem to like. Yeah, he's a good parent, but he kind of hates the cat, and he doesn't seem to care that his daughter's going to be upset by it.
And he's reckless too, in that obviously the events that play out in the movie,
right? And he
doesn't listen to Judd,
right? Who obviously, and even when he should, like the final thing, and towards the end when he should really know better, he still thinks he's so arrogant that he thinks, oh no, I'm doing it faster this time, it'll work, kind of thing. So
but Fred Gwynn, we mentioned him earlier, astounding in this role. Like I've honestly felt like he really lived in Maine, and he just like I feel like if I went up to Maine right now, like that guy, like he would be there.
Right. You almost feel like when they went and scouted locations, he came with it. Yeah.
Like they knocked on somebody's door, and he was like, I'll be in the movie for you.
Sure, no problem. I'll be right there. Yeah. He's so, and he comes in almost as like just like that. He just like no like. Kind of like set up for him. Next thing you know, he's just kind of in their lives, and he's there, and he's
but he absolutely 100% to me makes this movie.
Yeah, I don't think he got nominated for anything, right? Like best supporting actor, because I would have nominated him for that. That's how good he was in this. He was like you said, he so believable as what he was supposed to be, And he's got some of the classic lines, like I mean, obviously his famous one that they show in the thing, sometimes dead is better. I mean, come on, I mean, and he says it like 3 times in that little one scene alone. That's just a great line, and if that's delivered poorly, that line is ridiculous. But it's just silly, But he says it with a way where you're like. Like there's something about it. He says it. He delivers it so perfectly within the character that it hits the mark that it needs to hit.
I remember when I saw this movie and I saw who was playing Judd. Like I clearly remember thinking, "Oh my God, that's almost exactly how I pictured Judd in the book." I mean, that's how spot on it was. So yeah. And I don't remember the book specifically, but I do remember my reaction to the movie. Because obviously not as much time had passed at that point since I had read the book. And I remember being really, really happy with that casting. So
he was. Yeah, you can. I mean, there's a takeaway from this movie that that everyone's gonna remember. It's got to be Fred Gwynn's performance. Yeah. It's always gonna be the one.
Speaking of that, let's talk about some of the great scenes in this movie. Now, this movie is coming up on 30 years old. Right?
Yeah, I think so. Right?
So, yeah, 89. So, obviously, there's some parts that I remembered being a little scarier that maybe have not aged quite as well. There's a significant role by Brad Greenquist, who plays Victor Pascal, which is basically an apparition that keeps visiting Lewis.
Yeah,
it's a guy that was hit by a truck,
which is pretty gory scene. You see his brain out.
It reminded me a lot of the apparition from American Werewolf in London.
I was just going to say that. I said, that's exactly what I thought. And it's funny. I hadn't seen it in a while. So when I watched it again last night for the podcast, I forgot almost that whole thing, that whole aspect of it. Because there's one, and we'll get to it next, I'm sure, is the one thing I always remember from this movie. But next to the, obviously the poor little Gage getting killed. But but we'll go into that next. But yeah, you're right though. That's exactly what that evokes, that feeling of that character.
Part of that, there was a lot more of him that I remembered, and
yeah, right. That's what I meant. I don't remember him that much in there.
Yeah, and I don't know that it played completely well. In some weird way, even though he wasn't really funny, it almost added some kind of dark comic relief that I didn't really like. So I don't know. I mean, there was a reason for it, and I understand why the character was in there, but to me it was just overused, and it got to the point where you saw him on screen so much that the impact of it failed to keep scaring me. If that makes any sense.
You're right, like, because the initial times you saw him was kind of like a little bone chilling, like a little creepy. But yeah, the more you saw him, it was like it was almost like you felt comfortable with him there, which
Yeah.
that may have been the intention by that point, because he was trying to help. He was never trying to haunt or be creepy.
Right.
Like he was more sinister to the doctor. I forgot what's his name in the movie. Lewis. He was sinister to him to some degree, because I think he knew that he was going to do something stupid. And remember, he came to the girl and said, "Daddy's going to do something really bad." And I remember that I always remember that from the trailer too. That scene of the girl yelling that. And so it's like, and the funny thing is I forgot his name. So when the girl said that, when she was like Proskow or whatever, I'm like, who's that? Like, what is that guy's name? Like, I didn't put two and two together for some reason. Like, I might have missed a line where they said his name in the beginning, so I forgot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, then again, like we said earlier, it is Stephen King writing the screenplay. He may have intended it to be, because he wanted you more to be kind of, like welcomed by him more than afraid of him.
Yeah. Now, one of the scariest sequences in the movie, and I had completely forgotten all about it.
Oh, I did not, because that is what was one. I still pick that as one of my, like, that goes up with the Salem's Lot thing. That sister Zelda,
oh my god,
scared the hell out of me when I first saw it. And even yesterday watching it, I was getting like, it freaked me out. Like, because, and I give credit to the director on this, because she had those shots where she would just get in your face. Like, if this was 3D, she would have been on your lap. Like, and she came close, and it was so haunting and so creepy. And I'm like, and that's the thing I remember. And that's why for a while I actually didn't watch the movie, because between that and the Gage, it creeped me out. And I was like, I don't think I need to see that anytime soon.
Yeah. So what we're talking about is, Lewis's wife had a sister. It was her sister, right?
Yeah, it was her sister, that older
Zelda.
sister that was was spinal meningitis.
Yeah, she had spinal meningitis and was dying, and she was in bed, and so they were doing flashbacks of her having to take care of her, and she's up in this room, and she's just like almost anorexically skin and bones. I was just reading on IMDb that was played by a guy.
And I noticed that. And now you look at it, it's like it did have a very manly chin.
Yeah, but and just the makeup job on this thing, it looks so disturbing. Like, it really freaked me out.
Because it's all contorted.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah, it's
very, very creepy.
That scene actually I think might have gave me nightmares. And the thing is, here's the thing. Now while I loved it being in there because it was really scary, I'm trying to find what was really the place for it. Was it like, what was it trying to set up? Was it just that she had, trying to explain why the wife was that way?
I was so distracted by how scary it was.
Right.
I've glossed right over it.
That's honestly what I'm saying. I don't remember that. Like, I still never figured out why it was in there, other than for like almost like a shock value. Like, I get why it's in the screen. Like, I don't know how it was represented in the book.
I'll almost have to go back and watch it again, because I was so like dreading the scene.
Yeah, me too. And I forgot that there was one final one towards the end. I thought we were done with her. And then she's walking up in there, and she's like, whatever the wife's name is, and was Mary or no?
Oh gosh, Rachel.
It's Rachel, and like she's calling it, and I'm like, oh god, this thing's back. I mean, like, really? I didn't remember it. Yeah, because I forgot like that it was that third one, and that was the creepiest one. I always thought it was the other ones, but it was this one where she like comes right up to the camera.
Oh, and I think the other standout scene for me, which I think everybody remembers, is when Gage scalpels. Oh. Yes, cuts Judd's Achilles heel. I mean, this is imagine like a scalpel just slicing through a hock of meat, and it's like just shows
and it's well done too.
Oh, it's so well done, and I was dreading that scene the entire time.
That one, and when he slices his mouth.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, that hurts. That's like, when you get those paper cuts on your lip somehow accidentally or something. You're like, and that's like the ultimate paper cut. It's like just slice right through his lips. And I got to tell you, that scene, I mean, obviously there were, if you look at it now, that doesn't always hold up when they have Gage running around. You could obviously tell it wasn't him. It
was very clearly a doll, in
right,
some
at a
sense.
lot
it
of
was
parts.
almost laughably.
Yeah,
a doll.
it was pretty bad. But obviously there was enough of actually like Miko Hughes in it. But the thing is, I mean, I remember it was the part that always gets to me. As I know this sounds so cheesy, but I cringe because it's when he puts the needle in his neck and he does that cry.
Yes.
Oh my god. That is like it's heart wrenching.
Because all I could think about was like doing that to my son.
Yeah, like how do you do? And remember, and what I didn't catch all the other times I watched this, I caught it this time. He had that premeditated. Remember, because he even said, if it doesn't work, I'll just put him back to sleep. Yeah. So I'm like, and when he does that and he just cries and it's a real cry and you're just looking at it, it's like, that's like, I've heard these stories, like I've seen it, when my brother had to get a shot for something and, they hate it and they just, and you hate that because you're hurting them even though it's for their own good. But this is just
Although they do soften it a little bit because Gage has that line where after he does that he goes, "No fair."
Yeah, no fair. But when he cries, that is like heart wrenching. I mean, it's like I like that's another scene that used to disturb me to why I didn't want to watch it very often because I hated that part because it was so like I felt so bad because it's like this cute little kid and he's like. Especially that part, it wasn't him. There was no fault of it. It's not like he was like did anything to deserve that whole fate. And then I didn't even remember this. Then you show him get like thrown up against the thing and knocked into the thing, and the thing lands on him, and then he gets engulfed in flames. I mean, it's like really rough to see that.
There's a lot of disturbing sequences. I think that's why this movie still holds up.
Yeah,
is maybe not. I mean, plot-wise, there's not a whole lot to it, really. And there's not many characters in the movie at all. Not a very complex story. But just some of the sequences are so haunting that even, like I said, I mean, I had not watched this movie in probably several years. I mean, I watch it when it comes on TV or whatever, I'll turn it on.
Yeah.
But so I've seen bits and pieces over the years, but I had not sat down and really watched it beginning to end since it came out on DVD or whatever.
And if you think about it, it's like, okay, look, at that point, right? He's killed a beloved character in Judd, right? He kills his mother. You don't see it, but it's implied. He kills his mother, and he says that, and he's like taunting the father at that little like laugh, the hee hee, and I come out. What was the line? He was like, "I want to play with you," like that little, like they made him say it weird a little bit because like and all that. So you're trying to, but it's like you see his little face, and it's little cute Michael Hughes at like less than 2 years old, and you see his little face, and you're like. How does he do that? It's like, I don't know. I think I'd let him kill me. I don't think I would be able to do it. That was my little son. I would just let myself be killed. I don't think I could do it. I don't know.
Well, that's how awesome this movie is because not having seen it all the way through, you remember all those scenes. You remember the sister and the Achilles heel cutting. And
right.
You remember all these scenes because they're so well done.
Well, that's why I say it's like as much as it's like hard for me to watch, and it's a movie that I like probably would not watch anytime soon if it wasn't for the podcast. And we're gonna we're watching it. I mean, I have a copy of it, and probably if it ever came out with a special edition on Blu-ray, I'd probably get it for my collection because of Stephen King and all that. But it's like, but that's the thing is, but I respect the hell out of it because it didn't hold back with what it wanted to do, and it had a lot of tough scenes that they managed to be able to film, and didn't wimp out, so to speak, as tough as it is to see. They did it anyway, and it was like,
Well, let's get to our beer pairing for this week because you came up with a really, really good one, Brian.
Yeah, thank you. And I was panicked because like right before I was trying to find one, and I'm like, okay, because originally we actually had we were thinking of doing Carrie for this, so I kind of was in my head all day trying to figure out something for that. Then when we switched it up at the last minute, I'm like, okay, let me see here. Now I got to think of Pet Sematary. So I was thinking something with the cat, and I'm like, well, I already had enough trouble with the cat last week. I found the one. Then I'm trying to think of something, and if there was like a beer called like that is Bettah, but there wasn't. I was trying to. I was running the gamut, and then it hit me. I stumbled upon a beer called Buried Treasure, and it's from Hidden Cove Brewing Company. It was right there. Those two things work well based on the movie. And it was a sour fruit ale. And if you remember, they kept saying how the ground went sour, and that's why this whole Pet Cemetery Indian burial ground thing stopped working. Mostly because the soil went soured, and it basically was useless anymore. But yet it didn't stop people from still using it, and they learned the hard way. But yeah, and actually, real quick, thinking of that, we forgot another scene in there too, which used to creep me out too, is when Fred Gwynn's telling that story about the son that comes back, and he's like walking up all like a zombie.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
There's a great flashback
too.
there.
Yeah, I mean that's like that, and it's funny because Pet Sematary kind of reminds me a little bit of that story, the Monkey's Paw story.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I mean, you can tell there's a lot of influence there.
Yeah, so I mean, and that I remember I had read a story of that, like a version of that when I was a kid, and that used to haunt me because of that whole it was a version based of like the Monkey's Paw. It wasn't the true. I don't think it was the original, but it was based on it, so it was exactly like that. I think it was just more modernized or something, but I don't remember. But I just remember the premise of it, and that's what I kind of thought of with this, because it's like, I mean, and if you think about it, we were a little bit hard on the father, saying he's reckless and that, but if you lose a loved one, and you're so distraught, you would do anything to have them back. It's just trying to show you that this tries to show you just can't have them back. It's.
Speaking of killer cats. Maui, who we spoke of, is currently sitting on my lap asleep.
Aw.
He curled up, and he every night when I'm even whether I'm recording the podcast or not, while I'm in my office, he scratches at the office door to come in, so he can curl up in my lap and go to sleep.
See, and too bad he fell asleep, because he'd be like our third host,
yeah.
And I bet you he has a lot to say. He'd probably have a mouthful to say.
Yeah, poor Maui. He's kind of quiet, but he's a sweet kitty.
Yeah, he is a very sweet kitty. Yeah, you got all sweet cats. They're all fun. I played with them all when I was there.
Everybody wants to steal my cats when they come over.
Yeah, I think I almost took Morris. I was close.
Because they're actually nice, and most cats are not.
Yeah, if we were not going to Carowinds that day, I might have been taking Morris. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, the trivia question this week, I don't think Brian even knows this one.
No, I don't.
Because, I had two. One might be kind of easy. Actually, both were kind of easy if you look them up. But I'm just going to throw them both out there.
Yeah, why not?
So the first trivia question is, who was the actor originally supposed to play Lewis Creed?
Oh, yeah. See, I don't know this one.
What? And if you're a horror fan, you should definitely know this actor. And then I'll throw a bonus trivia question in there. What other famous horror icon turned down the chance to direct this movie? Actually, there's technically two for that one that would both fit that description, but this one actually turned it down. The other one, I think he couldn't do it because of some other.
That's some good. Those are two good trivia questions.
Yeah, so those are both good. So like I said, those are you can look them up fairly easily, but if you could try to guess them without looking it up. And the trivia question for last week, remember we had that doozy of a one. Brian's really, really hard one. And then we also had the kind of easier one, I guess. And I'm trying to pull it up here. Let's see.
Don't worry. We'll cut all this out that you're hearing.
Yeah.
Or not hearing.
Or we won't.
Yeah.
As a bonus. Okay. So here we go. Here's the easy one for last week. This was the first Stephen King film to do what? It's kind of weird. It's kind of hard to word that one.
Yeah, it was a first for a Stephen King.
It was a first. It's the first Stephen King film to receive a PG-13 rating.
Yeah, so that's pretty good because I guess all the other ones were R up until that point. So.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know. This might have came out right when PG-13, because PG-13 wasn't a thing until apparently the.
Was it Indiana Jones, right? In the Temple of Doom?
Yeah, because it was like mid-'80s before they did the PG-13 rating. I remember when it came out.
Oh, I remember it was a big thing with that.
It was a big deal, yeah.
I think it may have been, you know what? It may have been because of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I don't think it got a PG-13 rating. I think it was because of that, and there was so much in there that they rated it PG-13.
Oh, yeah, you might be right.
I think that's what it was.
Because that movie traumatized me.
Oh, that thing with with the heart. I mean, that's pretty crazy, you know.
And the monkey brain thing.
There was a lot in that movie.
So the really hard trivia question was, other than Drew Barrymore and Kevin McMillan, who was the only other actor in Cat's Eye to appear in at least one other Stephen King adaptation? And this one was real obscure. The answer is Laura Warner. In Cat's Eye, she was the cigarette girl, casino girl, and bridge driver. These aren't even named roles.
Yeah, because she was uncredited in both.
This is how deep Brian went.
Yeah, I went hard.
She was in Firestarter as the girl in the country store, and she was in Silver Bullet as the town's girl.
Yeah, and I think all three were uncredited, if I believe.
That's pretty awesome right there.
Yeah. So, just to go back, so it was Red Dawn was the first ever PG-13 movie.
Ah, okay.
But it says because after the parents were outraged over the release of Temple of Doom being PG, so they made Red Dawn the first PG-13 movie. And that's a classic. That's a favorite of mine, the original Red Dawn.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Wolverines! Sorry, I had to do it.
So I guess we'll wrap it up here, and we'll see you guys back here next week for our full mini-sode, or whatever we're gonna call it.
Yeah, we're not sure what it'll be yet, but it'll be something. It'll be good.
But remember,
sometimes dead is better.